Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I know this isn't my regular attire, but Purim doesn't come every day. I have another minute and 22 seconds to enjoy Purim. As Shabbat comes in, Purim is over. We've had a wonderful number of days with Purim activities, including our Spiel on Wheels this past Sunday, and last night's unforgettable Martini Megillah program. So we hope you enjoyed it. If you joined us, as always, we encourage you to go to our website. These next couple of weeks, we have so many activities coming up, including Mitzvah Day next Sunday with our annual soup tasting event. This week we have programs on the Israeli elections, on Zionism. There are all kinds of things going on, and we would love you to join us. Tonight, we have a special service planned. We have two lovely families joining us for Simchas. We have the Chop family, the Gainer family, and having been part of their Jewish lives for so many years, it's hard to believe we're at this moment. Really, time has flown by. We wish you the very, very best. Phyllis will be here later to make some announcements. But meanwhile, we want you to sit back. We want you to enjoy, take a deep breath. Enjoy Shabbat, and on behalf of everyone at Temple Beth Shalom, we want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom.
Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom. As Mark Baranek just shared, we are at the tail end of our Purim celebration, which has been wonderful. And the song that Cantor Siegel just shared with us are some words from Megillat Esther, that the Jews had joy and had light, and that actually is a wonderful tie-in to our Torah portion for this week. But first, I just want to welcome you all to Shabbat services. In particular, I want to thank those of you who are joining us on Zoom tonight, because when you join us on Zoom, we get to see your beautiful faces on a monitor here in the sanctuary. And it's a beautiful reminder to us that we are together here, even as we are apart. And so for those of you who may be listening in via our Facebook page or our live stream, let me just encourage you to reconsider and perhaps go to our website, click on Zoom so that we can see your faces and you can see each other. And those faces bring us light. This week's Torah portion is all about light, titzaveh. It opens with the kindling of the Ner Tamid in the ancient tabernacle. And any synagogue you go into in the world, including right here on the bima of Temple Beth Shalom, right behind me, we see a Ner Tamid, an eternal light. And in our tradition, light represents the divine. The first mitzvah in the Torah is Vayihi Or, let there be light. So we are commanded, in everything we do, be a Ner Tamid, a bringer of light. Live with honor, act with integrity, do your work with passion, and the radiance of your deeds will live after you. May our ideals ever burn bright, forever unextinguished, and may we live our lives like the flames we kindle, always stretching upward, striving for the good, reaching for you, O God. And now it is my great joy and pleasure to welcome our B'nai Mitzvah families to be kindlers of light. We welcome the Gainer and Chop families to the screen for this mitzvah of welcoming Shabbat.
Doesn't look like you.
Yeah, we're still no, we are.
Watch out, you're gonna burn yourself.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
And now, generations of Dana's family will lead us in the introduction to the Kiddush.
Vayiver vayivoker yom hashishi, vayikula hashamayim v'haaretz, tuhol sotam, v'chal Elohim bayom hashvi'i,
Mikol elato asher asar.
vayishvos b'yom
Bayom
hashvi'i, mikol malachtos asher asar, vayirach Elohim et yom hashvi'i, Vayikadesh oto ki vo Shabbat mikol malachto asher bara Elohim lasos.
And now Hannah will begin the Kiddush, followed by Dana.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kudsho be'ahava u'v'ratzoni lanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim.
Ivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim, thank you for your leadership, and we look forward to your simcha tomorrow. We continue with our Kabbalat Shabbat section of our service, beautiful hymns and psalms that bring in that feeling of joy and celebration and wholeness and rest. Beginning with Psalm 96, Shiru Ladonai Shir Hadash, sing unto God a new song. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Miyom Yeshuato. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Miyom Yeshuato. Zabru v'goyim kevodo, v'chol ha'amim niflotav, ki gadol Adonai u'mehula mehod, v'ra'u akol Elohim. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Miyom Yeshuato. Ki chol Elohei ha'emim melilim, Adonai Shamayim asah. Bo lefanav v'nadav, Oz v'tiferet v'mikdasho. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Miyom Yeshuato. Yitzmechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz, yiram hayam u'molo, ya'aleh sadai v'chol asher bo. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Miyom Yeshuato. Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru Miyom Miyom Yeshuato. And we continue with Lecha Dodi. We are ready to receive Shabbat officially with the entrance of that bride. Lecha Dodi, Ligrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Ligrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litchila. Lecha Dodi, Ligrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Ligrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela. Likrat Shabbat, lechu v'nelcha, ki mikor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh v'machal Shabbat techilo. Lecha Dodi, Ligrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat, Nekabela. Shabbat nekabela lechadoti likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela boi v'shalom ateret balam gam b'simcha uv'tzola toch emunei am segula boi chala lechadoti likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela lechadoti likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabela. Now that we have welcomed Shabbat and we are ready to bless the Baruch Hu. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, 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 yalla lai lai lai.
In this week's Torah portion, Titzaveh, we also read about these special garments the ancient high priest would wear. And these included an elaborate breastpiece with stones representing each one of the 12 tribes, a blue robe with pomegranates and bells on the fringes. And my favorite detail of the high priest's garb is that he was to wear a headpiece with a frontlet of pure gold, and on it would be inscribed the words, Kodesh LaAdonai, holy to God, holy to the eternal, holy to God. Whenever I read this each year, I wonder how different our world would be if we were to imagine these words inscribed on everyone we encounter's foreheads. The words of the Shema remind us that God is one, and we are all children of that God, created in God's image, all holy, each one of us, and precious to the eternal. As we chant these words of the Shema, let it remind us of all that is holy and precious in each one of God's children. And now I welcome two of those beautiful children, now young adults, to our screen, Dana and Hannah, to chant the words of Shema.
Hannah will begin.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
ואהבת אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבביך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברתם בם בשבתך בביתך ולתך בדרך ושוכבך וקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Yesher Kochachen. Young ladies, that was beautiful, beautiful chanting. It has been a joy watching both of you grow up here at Temple Beth Shalom, and we are so looking forward to celebrating your young adulthood tomorrow. Mazel tov to you and your families. There is a saying in the Talmud that the candle you give light, the candle you light will give light to 100 more candles. Each mitzvah we perform, each act of kindness, each donation, each act of justice and compassion multiplies the light in our world. Long ago, God redeemed the Israelites from Egypt so that we might remember the stranger and be a light unto the nations. We celebrate our role and responsibility as light bearers as we chant the words of the Mi Chamocha.
Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, no Moshe Miriam, Ze'elianu ve'amru, Ze'elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, V'nehemar, ki vada Adonai et Yaakov, ugealo miyad chazak, chazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Shabbat affords us that special privilege to put everything aside and to rejoice in this gift that God has given us, this gift of rest. I invite you to join me in the words of rejoicing, Yismechu. Hi dai 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 dai, hi dai 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 dai, hi dai 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 dai, hi dai 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 dai, Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg, Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg, v'kodeshei shevi Shabbat, Shabbat, kulam yisbehu, v'yitagu mitovecha Shabbat, Shabbat, Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg, Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg, v'hashvi ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat, Shabbat, chemdat yamim oto karot Shabbat, Shabbat, Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg, Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg, zecher lema'aseh v'reishit Shabbat, Shabbat, zecher lema'aseh v'reishit Shabbat, Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg, Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg. We are ready to enter into the Amidah section of our prayer service. We open with this beautiful kavanah to set our intention, this melody from Israel, from Beit Tefillah Israeli. Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha, Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. בכמוך בעל גבורות ומדומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We pray the remainder of the Amidah with our own thoughts and prayers. As Rabbi mentioned, in the beginning of Parshat Tetzaveh, God commands the children of Israel to construct a Ner Tamid, an eternal light that will shine morning and night as a statute and sign of God's presence throughout the generations. This tradition and this teaching instructs us that we must act as Or Lagoyim, a light unto the nations for all peoples in this world, a beacon for freedom and hope. We are a light to the nations, a symbol that we cannot fail. Standing as one, we will rise like the sun as we build Am Echad Yisrael. Traveling on our journey, finding the courage to grow. Strength from our past will guide us at last, lighting our lives as we go. We are the lamp of promise and peace, a beacon for freedom and hope. For all, not just some, we all will become the torch that illumines our soul. We are a light to the nations, a symbol that we cannot fail. Standing as one, we will rise like the sun as we build our Am Echad Yisrael. Standing as one, we will rise like the sun as we build Am Echad Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom. So glad to see all of you here on this beautiful Shabbat evening here at Temple. A few years ago, I met with a man who was struggling in life. He came to see me and he told me he had a lot of pressure. He was quiet, a little withdrawn. I asked him if he had sought treatment with a psychosocial practitioner. He said, "Yes, Rabbi, I'm here to see you." And he said, "Don't worry, I'm not sad or even depressed. Rather," he said, "I feel pressed. It's not a bad thing." He went on to say that he was going to be okay because whenever he feels this press, he knows that at some point he will feel unpressed, which he pointed out is not the same as depressed. Rather, unpressed is a feeling of light, freedom, and expansion. Our Torah portion this week tells us, "V'ata titzaveh et b'nei Yisrael, v'yichachu shemen zayit zakatit lima'or lahalot ner tamid." God says, "And you shall command the children of Israel that they shall take for you pure olive oil, pressed for illumination, to kindle a ner tamid, to kindle a lamp continually." We take olives and press them really hard to squeeze out a small drop of pure oil. In the fall of 1977, I had the great joy of picking olives on Kibbutz Deliahu in the Beit Shan Valley, near Beit Shan in Israel. And I picked big green olives, which is fun for the first 20 minutes, but then afterwards it's just like this all day long. It's not easy work. And don't ever try a raw olive. They are very, very bitter. To make the olive oil, the olive has to be pulled from the tree, ground up to pulp, and pressed under tremendous, tremendous pressure, enormous weights, and then strained and filtered, and finally, a precious drop of oil is pressed from the bitter fruit. The Midrash compares us as humans to the olive which produces oil. Our lives undergo similar stress and pressure, even discomfort and pain and conflict. And in this midst of this process, there is often little serenity and most often tremendous angst with this pressure. But when the weight is lifted, time passes, realities change, and out of our discomfort emerges the sweetness of renewed insight, renewed vision, renewed direction. Now, not all pressure is bad. We have a member who, whenever he puts on his seatbelt and feels the pressure on his body, he says, "Thank you, God, for protecting me." And I have a camp friend who back in the 70s stopped saying "right on" and used to encourage his campers with "press on, press on." And I personally love the press of Friday afternoon as Shabbat approaches, getting ready to be unpressed for a bit of Shabbat. But more than all the pressures of our daily lives, good and bad, I believe our Torah is asking us to embrace the feeling of pressure as not bad. The pressure of living fully, of squeezing a drop of goodness from the complicated and consuming process of living is embedded in our tradition. We have lots of pressure. Do the mitzvot. Don't do the negative mitzvot. Choose goodness, choose life. Observe this, observe that. Learn this, learn that. Be kind, be present, be upright, and of course, be holy. I have been blessed to feel the pressure to be holy most of my life. And I feel so grateful that I have, as many of you know, the privilege of the spaciousness of a sabbatical that starts on Monday at midnight. Actually, it's Sunday late at night. It's not that I'm counting the time, but I have the privilege of having a sabbatical from March 1st through May 31st this year to honor and to unpress the soul that God has given me. The pressure to live a life of meaning and value has some limitations and challenges. Our vessel, our body, our soul only contains a certain amount of time and can only withstand a certain amount of pressure. In Pirkei Avot we read, Al tistekel b'kankan ela shema yesh bo. Do not look at the vessel, rather look at what is contained within it. Our Torah, I believe, demands that we squeeze as much life, love, joy, happiness, justice, compassion, and kindness from the vessel of our existence as is humanly possible. On this Shabbat, may we pause to remember to continually press and unpress our lives so that we illuminate the potential that we have to be holy and to create holiness. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be through God's will, but it's going to be through our actions that we both find a way to press our lives and to unpress them as well. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi. And we're going to take a few moments now to pray the words of the Mishaberach prayer, a prayer for healing and for wholeness, whether you need a prayer for spiritual well-being or physical well-being. We invite you to either write in the chat box, or we're going to bring our Zoom friends to the screen to share any names of loved ones they may have for our congregation. Do we have any names to share?
Selma Curtis.
Thank you. And I'll add Yonatan ben Ilana, Hannah bat Jean, and David ben Sarah. We take all of our loved ones for whom we are praying into our hearts as we chant these words of healing and hope. Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
And even as we think of those parts of our lives that are broken or lacking, we must at the same time think of all the things for which we are grateful, all the moments of arrival that we have in our lives. And so we think about our two bat mitzvah girls who have waited 13 years for this moment. We think about Rabbi Davis's sabbatical that he has waited 50 years of working for. We think about those of you who have gotten a vaccine or had a birthday or an anniversary. A shout out to Alice and Fran for their 15th anniversary. And if you are celebrating anything in your life that you want to share with us, please put it in the chat so that everybody can celebrate with you. We sing the words of Shehechianu, thanking God together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. We continue with our closing prayers, beginning with the Aleinu, our prayer for wholeness and oneness. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyeh aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama. Shelo sam chelkeinu kahem v'goraleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo
We take some moments now to remember all of those who we have loved and lost, all of those who have nurtured our souls and impacted our lives. We remember them, and at this moment we think about those who have died in the last 30 days and whose families remain in the shloshim of their mourning. We remember Jeffrey Bleicher, Villain Volgin, Stanley Brownstein, Michael Mickey Golden, and Howard Weiss. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. And we think of all of those whose yahrzeits are observed on this Shabbat, whose names have been lovingly inscribed by their families in our alcove of remembrance. We remember William Bill Bear, Greta Berkowitz, Marshall Berkowitz, Betty Ann Bright, Anna Brown, Arlene Chaplin, George Cohen, Irene Dorfman, Louis J. Fabricant, Sadie Getchman, Bertram Gerson, Joseph Goldberg, Jenny Sarah Goldsmith, Stanley Goldsmith, Eleanor Granoff, Jerry Gross, Harold Jaffe, Carol Kahn, Morris Kirsch, Sheila Klein, Joan Spiro Kotler, Hertha Kronthal, Mark Levinson, Solomon Lichter, Robert Eugene Lakshin, David Miller, Rose Miller, Gladys Arth Molaski, Simon Perrell, Joseph Rappaport, Ann Rappaport, Felix Reiler, Michael Roberts, Samuel Satinsky, Bernard Schreiber, Sylvia Sir, Robert Summerstein, Norman Stamler, Barnett Stein, Henry Tager, Abraham Pincus Unger, Merrill Wertheimer, Julius Wilner, and Tilly Yates. And we think of all those others whose yahrzeits are remembered on this Shabbat: Norman Bile, Harry Bloom, Rosette Doak, Evelyn Esformis, Rose Goldenberg, Susan Goodman, Arthur Gubin, Jean Hirschberg, Yu Hsien-tsun, Marvin Kaufman, Benjamin Kirshner, Philippa Napka, Phyllis Kurland, Edith Land, Louis Levitsky, Marty Lubin, Edith Mendelson, Julio Mordojovich, Betty Morber, Janet Nauman, Albert Pardo, Marion Resnick Miller, Irvin Salisbury, Louis Savelle, Gloria Charlin, Morris Siegel, Philip Silverstein, Max Spar, Annie Stember, Ernest Max Sternbaum, Rose Swerdlow, and Max Swerdlow, Ann Trope, Rosa Urisha, Joycey Marty Wax, William Weiss, Yael Wiesner, and Fred Yamrin. And this week, our country hit a grim milestone: 500,000 lives lost to COVID-19 in our country alone. We grieve for those lives lost and pray for the healing and comfort for the victims' families and friends. And I share this prayer with our congregation, written by Alden Solovoy. God of consolation, surely you count in heaven just as we count here on earth. In shock and in sorrow, the souls sent back to you, one by one, the dead from the COVID pandemic, as the ones become tens, the tens become hundreds, the hundreds become thousands, the thousands become 10,000s, and then 100,000s. Each soul a heartbreak, each soul a life denied. God of wisdom, surely in the halls of divine justice, you are assembling the courts, calling witnesses to testify, to proclaim the compassion of some and the callousness of others, as we've struggled to cope. The souls taken too soon, whose funerals were lonely, who didn't need to die, who died alone. Who will tell their stories when you judge our triumphs and our failures in these hours of need? God of healing, we pray for an end to this pandemic and all illness and disease. Bless those who stand in service to humanity. Bless those who grieve. Bless the dead, so that their souls are bound up in the bond of eternal life. And grant those still afflicted with disease or trauma a complete and lasting healing, one by one, until suffering ceases and we can stop counting the dead in heaven and on earth. And so, in memory of those 500,000 and the millions around the world, we light this Yizkor candle. And we listen to the words of the song, "It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch."
It is a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, hope, dream to be, and all to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For lifted me, for your word was gift to me. To remember this brings a painful joy. Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love. Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love. Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love. Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing to love. To love, to love, to love, to love what death has touched.
We remember all the martyrs of our people and take them into our hearts with our own, and we invite you to rise in body or spirit as together we recite these words of Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute, B'chayachon v'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'gala v'yizman kari v'yimru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'alam ulalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shemei dekrusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Damiran be'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru, Amen. May the author of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all who are bereaved here and everywhere. And let us say, Amen. And now I'd like to share our screen with a member of our board, Phyllis Winston, who is also the co-president of our sisterhood, to welcome everyone and bring some announcements. Thank you, Phyllis.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And I want to thank the rabbi and cantor for a beautiful Friday night service. Thank you so much. And I also want to give a shout out, and Mark mentioned it earlier, but the service last night for the Megillah was not only beautiful, meaningful, creative, and a lot of fun. So we thank you for that as well. A big mazel tov to the Gaynor family on Hannah's bat mitzvah tomorrow morning, and to the Chop family for Dana's bat mitzvah tomorrow afternoon. And I want to say you guys did a terrific job tonight. I know you're going to be wonderful tomorrow. Please join us immediately after services tonight for the Oneg via Zoom. And tomorrow morning, starting at 9:30, is our Torah study via Zoom. It's a lot of fun, and we learn a lot every week. At 10:30 a.m., Shabbat Minyan service via Zoom or TBS Watch and Facebook Live. For what's coming up next week, and there is a lot, on March the 3rd at 5 o'clock, we have the pleasure of having Zionism Then and Now by Rabbi Glickstein. In order to be a part of this program, you need to RSVP to Naomi, and she will send you the link so you can join them. Also, the same day, March 3rd at 7, Third Time is Not the Charm, an Israeli election discussion with Mark Baranek via Zoom. As you've heard, Mitzvah Day is next Sunday. There's so many programs to be involved in, and based on what you've heard, donations are very important. We have a lot of wonderful programs going on. Sisterhood, the New to You, Gently Used Clean Clothing can be dropped off during the week. Or on Sunday, if you come by, we will take it out of your car. Just please mark it in a bag marked. It's gently used clean clothing. Let me rephrase that, gently used clean clothing. We please put them in a bag or a box marked by women, men, children, and we will take it right out of the trunk of your car. So we appreciate all the donations for that, as well as there's sporting goods. There's many, many different donations that are being asked for, and this year it's really important, even more so than usual. And you probably have all received the Mitzvah Day program, so please look at this and see what you can do to participate or donate. Major importance. There will be the virtual opening ceremony, as well as the soup contest. And we encourage you to sign up for any project. And if you have any questions, feel free to visit the www.tbsmb.org/Mitzvah Day. All the information is there as well. Temple Beth Shalom is a proud member of PAC. I know you've heard this before, but it is a very important group where the largest interfaith community in Miami-Dade County, working together to bring long-lasting change. We believe in building the relationships across faith, racial, and socioeconomic lines to bring about justice and address our most pressing community concerns. I have been part of it for a long time, and I will tell you it's been amazing to watch some changes that have gone on, but many, many things need to continue to change. So please, we are trying to get 100 TBS congregants to the annual Nehemiah Assembly on March 15th, where we will safely gather in our cars with 1,500 other PAC members and hold public officials accountable for the work and the projects that we're trying to accomplish. For information about these and other virtual opportunities, remember to check our weekly emails, the website, and make phone calls if you need to, because there's so many programs going on at the temple, and we welcome you to be a part of all of it. And I want to wish a very big Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
Thank you so much, Phyllis, for those wonderful announcements. And thank you to each and every one of you for celebrating Shabbat with us here tonight. We are going to conclude our service with a prayer for wholeness and peace for each one of us, our homes, our community, and our world. Oseh Shalom.
Shalom, hu ya'aseh shalom, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, brings peace down. May the one who brings peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. ya'aseh shalom aleinu. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, brings peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, brings peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down.
Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Join us for the oneg.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.